In the days that passed, family and friends noticed an inner calm and maturation that exuded from Hare. Hare learned that the correct way to approach a medicine person was to bring an offering of sage and some things Hare thought Turtle would find useful. Hare looked for Turtle. The days that passed seemed long. One day, while looking for Turtle near a pond, a voice exclaimed, "Hello, Hare." Hare spun around and was surprised to see Grasshopper beaming back a grin. "Been wondering how you doin'," said Grasshopper. "Gosh, I've been searching high and low for Turtle. Turtle often chooses to show me where we'll next meet when I dream, so maybe you'll have a dream tonight or in the next few days about this." "Gosh, Grasshopper, it amazes me how Turtle can have learned so much. Turtle told me that we are always teaching these things that we need to learn most, so that's what I do. I teach what I'm most in need of learning. It's a way to learn." "What a great idea," quipped Hare. "Turtle told me that unless we've learned how to see mostly the way we help others is through what we are modeling ourselves. Yet someone who can truly help has developed a degree of formlessness and has learned to see. My training with Turtle could all be placed in this nutshell," said Grasshopper. "Turtle told me that when you both meet again that you are in for a surprise." Grasshopper could see Hare's potential as a medicine person and covertly supported Hare's journey to reconnect with Turtle. "So have a dream and maybe we'll be seeing each other real soon." As Hare turned to blaze a trail off into the brush, Grasshopper called, "Oh, by the way." Hare came to a screeching halt. "Turtle told me to get around a little like you have time to smell the flowers and notice things on the outside." "Well, it sure looks like it's worked for you," replied Grasshopper. "Tell me anything else, especially if it's, oh, by the way, Hare stuff." "Another thing Turtle told me that I think is excellent is that our true nature is to live a little bit inside ourselves. As we are at ease within ourselves, we come closer to each other. Go and see Grandmother Iktomi so you can get a dream catcher." Hare's much extended family said that Grandmother Iktomi was in the area doing a workshop on weaving symbols of nature to form an alphabet. So Hare set off to get a dream catcher. On the way to see Grandmother Iktomi, Hare ran into Deer. "Well, what's up, Doc?" "I'm off to get a dream catcher to enable me to get instructions while dreaming from the great turtle shaman who is my teacher." "Oh, I know all about dream catchers," said Deer. "Well, I'm about to get one, so is there anything you can share with me about this? I'd love to know." "Well, yes, there is." Deer pawed at the ground, looked at Hare in the eyes, and then said, "The dream catcher enables the powers you possess for telepathy already be made clearer. She may give you a dream catcher, or she may have you make one if you are the kind of person interested in the medicine way." "I hope she has me make one." "Well, then if she does, you'll need to make a hoop out of willow, and Ictame will give you a design for the interior of the dream catcher." "What do I do with it then?" "Well, you hang it in the place where you sleep so it will help attract to you the powers you need in the dream." "Whoa, that's amazing how that works," exclaimed Hare. Hare walked and finally at the end of the day met with Grandmother Ictame. "I've been expecting you to arrive," she said. "Oh?" said Hare. "Yes, I got wind of this from people who came in to get dream catchers from me today. And so it seems that Wakantanka wants you to learn how to make one. Otherwise, if you would have come earlier, as I had one to give away at that hour. Anyway, you want a dream catcher to help you now with your telepathic sense. The dream catcher is designed to help you note when you catch your opportunity on the outskirts of your web. Hang power adornments, the tip of an antler reaching to the furthest star, an eagle feather, a shell, a piece of coral, the bone of a coyote, and a small stone from a long way away. If you can find the willow, I'll give you this magic thread and all the power adornments. Now all you need to do is select a design that speaks to you from your experience. Ho! Hare made the dream catcher, putting quite a bit of intent into the process. Finally, Hare had it suspended from the ceiling. That night, Hare's family said that out in the future there's an event occurring now that draws us forward, called a strange attractor. It even draws patterns out of the seemingly chaos. In the next few days, Hare had the most amazing lucid dream. The dream was very strange, for a villainous bandit wanted to carve Hare up, and all the while flute music wafted in and out. The sound had a luminous quality that filled the air with gold and purple light, and all Hare could do when one cheek was suited was to turn the other. Hare woke from the dream compelled to find the oldest tree to the north of the pond, and that Turtle would be waiting there. Hare wandered through the underbrush, waiting for the oldest tree to show itself. Hare felt like some ancient instinct kept saying, "This way, this way." Hare just followed. Hare went deeper and deeper into the woods than ever before. All of a sudden, Hare could faintly hear in the distance some flute and drumming wafting in and out like a dream. Hare's heart beat faster. "Oh my God, what have I got myself into?" murmured Hare. The music was hypnotizing and Hare just followed. The foot track opened up into a beautiful field, and there at the edge of the field, surrounded by students, was Turtle playing a clay flute shaped like a turtle. Everyone sat on medicine blankets that were shaded by the boughs of a big old oak tree. It was certainly one of the older trees that Hare had ever seen. To the left was what Hare recognized as the unclad frame of a sweat lodge. The sweat lodge stood about 4.5 feet tall, flat on top, with 16 willow limbs coming straight up out of the earth to make the sides of the sweat lodge frame, giving it about a 16 to 18-foot diameter. Red, black, and brown strips of cloth and bundles of sage hung in the frame. A sign hung nonchalantly in the doorway which read, "Clan Lodge." Southeast of the opening to the lodge, about 20 feet away, was a mound of earth covered with crystals, a smudging shell, bundles of sage and cedar, and other medicine items. Immediately beyond this mound was a large fire circle with a raked mound in the fire circle. The moment Hare was visible in the clearing, Turtle acknowledged Hare and said, "Aho, mitakuye oyasin." "Aho, mitakuye oyasin," exclaimed Hare back. "Aho, mitakuye oyasin," said the group in unison. Hare recognized Grasshopper, who was keeping a roll playing on the drum. Hare looked anxiously at the other faces in the group and recognized Deer. "You know what Aho mitakuye oyasin means?" asked Deer. "Yes, it means that we are all related to each other," said Hare. "We hardly have to go back very far, all of us here," said Turtle, "to come from the same mother." Hare skirted round the outside of the group to sit at Turtle's feet. Hare reached into a burlap sack and drew out some bright, neatly wrapped bundles. "These are for you, Turtle." Turtle was moving in unison with the drum. Turtle unwrapped the bundles Hare had brought, containing sage and cedar, tobacco and crystals in another, and some hawk feathers in another. Turtle's eyes lit up when spotting the hawk feathers. "We've been expecting you to arrive with this," said Turtle, selected a medicine bag and held it out for Hare to see. Cupping it with both hands, Turtle said, I challenge you, Hare, to wear this medicine bag as a symbol that you will serve Wakantanka as a living prophet. Just like a ring worn could be a symbol of relationship, or a picture on the wall could remind you of something. This medicine bag being worn is a symbol that you live what you speak and you speak what you live next. It's amazing that something is so seemingly precious, yet for your eyes, only for your eyes inwardly. Turtle placed the medicine bag around Hare's neck. Hare was feeling overwhelmed, and the moment the medicine bag touched Hare's skin, Hare felt a rush of warm energy seemingly flooding upward. This energy cascaded like a fountain out of the top of Hare's head, showering down in streams of energy only for these streams of energy to flood upward again, streaming in through the joints of Hare's bones. Hare tried to speak, yet nothing came out. Turtle reached down and placed a hand on Hare's shoulder. It was electric, hot. Deer placed a talking stick, brightly adorned with parrot feathers, with a crystal set on top, in Turtle's lap. Everyone moved a little to sit in a circle. All the while Grasshopper kept a steady straight drum beat going. Turtle held Hare's paws while looking Hare straight in the eyes. The medicine bag has two things that are ancient, frankincense and myrrh. It has something fresh from the belly of the earth, lava rock. The rocks are the ears that hear the voice of Wakantanka as thunder first, for the rocks feel this first. It has something very clear and brilliant, and it has turtle energy. Aho! Everyone chanted, seemingly breaking the formality of things. This was the moment Hare had been waiting for in life, to apprentice in the medicine way with a great teacher. Sobs filled Hare's abdomen. Hare was trying to hold the tears from welling up. Hare let some whimpers out. Put your shoulders back and your heart out, and look with soft eyes straight ahead, Turtle softly whispered. Hare immediately became integrated, and an aura of majestic purple and gold white light flooded the area. The sweet smell of sage floated in the air. In an ancient way, Turtle remarked, being less than aware consciously of the contents of the medicine bag. Anything can be there when you need this, Hare. Ho! Everyone exclaimed. With this, Turtle jumped up and started making a winding up sound. Whoop! Poof! There was silence. Let's hold our circle, said Turtle, and play I will speak. You'll say I am, and give us your name, and then you say I will speak. Then you speak a learning, and when you have finished you'll say I am, and you put your name in, and then you say I have spoken. If you agree with anything, then you say ho. Ho! Everyone exclaimed. Turtle lightly squeezed Hare's paw. Hare looked around at the medicine people seated in the circle, maybe 30 people. They look a lot like characters out of a New Age picture calendar book. One thing about them, though, Hare quivered, they're all down-to-earth people, every one of them, thought Hare. There is a sure-footedness about all of them, even though they seem poor and hungry for spirituality, with little possessions. As I looked around, I saw a lit beeswax candle on a makeshift altar of sage leaf where a crystal ball lay with a red light box underneath it. I saw musical instruments I'd never seen before. I saw brightly embroidered white cloth bags. Everyone was dressed in fitted, flowing gowns, brightly embroidered in places, yet mainly plain white. Time seemed to slow down as I could hardly help from melding into everything. There were times that night when Hare slipped in and out of a dreamlike consciousness. I do remember Turtle saying, I am Turtle and I will speak, and then hardly much after that. Loud Hawk sat on Hare's left, propping Hare up, sometimes as the talking stick was being passed. There were a few small intermissions before the circle would be complete. During one of the breaks, Loud Hawk, Grasshopper, and Hare lay piled in a heap, laying on top of each other and rolling on the earth. With a shiny burnt orange coat that was smooth to touch, Loudhawk could read someone's thoughts many miles away. I would learn a lot about living with my mind open in the years that were to come, thought Hare. Loudhawk was known to be one of the top telepathics in the area. Loudhawk was always consulted by all who seriously wanted to learn about the big picture. You know what I feel the big picture is for you, Hare? Asked Loudhawk. Pray, please tell me. Well, I can see you becoming fitter in your ability to stay awake, said Loudhawk. How? Well, you know I've heard that it's totally unnatural for rabbits to think they could get any nutrition at all after they cook the life out of their grass before eating. You should consider the value of the biotic life force of a nutrient. Find out what that means, Hare, roared Loudhawk. Sequoia, who is a good friend of Grasshoppers and helped keep a steady drum beat going during the breaks, said, Loudhawk is very knowledgeable when it comes to remembering facts, and also memorizing exactly what Turtle says. I remember feeling amazed that I was in the company of such fine people and saying so, and hearing Sequoia share with me that Turtle taught us a fundamental whole-brain principle of keeping company of like-minded people, thought Hare. Sounds good to me, quipped Hare. I remember how less than relaxed I felt before it came time for me to speak. There were times beforehand where I'd planned to say something and work it all out in my head while others were speaking. Then other people would use the idea in speaking in their learning affirmation. Sequoia stayed close to me most of the rest of the day and evening. Sequoia comforted me a few times with laughter and the good advice to create a space inside, then speak in the moment from this space. As the time neared, things seemed to speed up really fast. My throat was burning. Then Loudhawk passed the talking stick to me and said, Ho! Chapter 4. Ho! Came the retort of the group. Ho! I am Hare and I will speak. I have come seeking to learn the medicine way. My mind is blank except for the greater aspect of me wishing to know the meaning of a dream I had the other night. Ho! Said Turtle, followed by everyone else in unison. Well, said Turtle, cut to the chase. A villainous bandit wanted to carve me up, blurted Hare. In the dream I saw one side of my face being smitten and turning to show the other cheek. What was amazing, Hare continued, was that bliss exuded from me like a love potion that was overwhelming. The consciousness of this loving energy spoke to what this represented in the bandit and so elicited love in response, remarked Loudhawk. Ho, said Turtle, followed by everyone in unison. Hare brings to us the teaching of the path of superconduction through letting go of all that is worldly. Some people of old called this the path of least resistance. It involves loving and living from the heart first. If there is something all of us can start doing now, it's living from your heart. Love the one who despises you. Two Feathers would say, let your hearts be preserved, unmoved, allowing what is excellent to pass your lips, so forever now you abide with compassion and goodwill. As we are doing this, we are unfolding the whole world with radiant love. This path of superconduction is the basis of what many great prophets have spoken of that people find less than easy to follow or even understand. Be ye perfect. One who sees in union with Wakantanka, who sees the divine light in every being, can show the other cheek and live in universal love. For the shaman who has reached a state of superconduction, being is an outpouring experience of Wakantanka. We must find a way to practice formlessness through humility, perfect detachment, and humbleness. As you are doing this now, there is a field of energy being created that accumulates as it builds to a critical mass, where love transcends everything. We must act with temperance and prudence and fortitude, even though this field of superconduction creates flow and order. If there was just one person on the face of the earth, like Tunkashila, where there is presently a need for peace, someone who has traveled away from home, who has learned another language, who gives self to Wakantanka. Wherever there is just one person like Tunkashila on a continent, we also find peace. Spirituality means joining. To the person who is most in need of knowing, who thinks there is one way to truth and others are wrong, it is the way of the shaman to realize the veil of illusion, that duty and morality accord with one's physical state of being first, then mental set. Let all be enlightened now. Is anything more precious than the preciousness of life? If anyone moved for any other reason other than being present tense oriented, or moved in any direction other than toward life, then one should be reminded of what the sun continuously does, and the work performed by the rocks help us sweat in the lodge tonight. This work done by these rocks is performed by their very nature. We need to remember to walk lightly as we borrow the earth from all who come before us. We must practice the path of formlessness. Those of you interested in the way of the shaman, we should recognize that there are varying levels of existence, and that yet, step by step, without any struggle, Wakantanka is. There is only learning in this sphere. One day Two Feathers was going on an extended journey across continents, and so the smudging wing was given to one apprentice to care for, while Two Feathers gave a rattle, drinking gourd, drum, flute, and looking crystal to the other. The first apprentice was overwhelmed by the honor of looking after Two Feathers' precious smudging wing, and so wrapped and stowed it carefully away. The other apprentice, also overwhelmed by the honor of being caretaker of the many other items, used them carefully in ceremony, and even lent them out to others. The day before Two Feathers' surprise return, the apprentice decided to unwrap and listen to the sound the wing made when a trader stopped by to collect what was owed. The trader saw the smudging wing and said that if the apprentice would hand over the wing, it would be given back in the near future. When Two Feathers came to collect the wing for ceremony and asked the apprentice for it, the apprentice apologized for less than being able to return the wing immediately, yet would do this shortly. Two Feathers then went to collect the many ceremonial medicine items left in the care of the other apprentice and found them all gone. People used them without returning them, apologized the apprentice, in the same breath asking Two Feathers forgiveness of the matter. Turtle paused. Hare, come sit with me, Turtle asked. Oh my God, Hare thought, all eyes are on me. What is Turtle going to ask me? Where's my brain? This is going too fast, thought Hare. Calm down, relax, breathe easy, came a voice inside. It was Loudhawk's. Phew, sighed Hare. Hare was in need of breathing easier. Turtle's voice soothed the searing coals of Hare's doubt. The fastest way to the top, Hare, is to control internal dialogue. Ho! Came the retort of the group. Hare was now sitting at Turtle's feet. Turtle placed a hand on Hare's shoulder. Which of the apprentices, asked Turtle, will love Two Feathers more? Hare's brain began to burn like a shining skull. Shining skull? Oh, please, Wakantanka, guide my heart that my lips may speak what you wish, thought Hare. Hare was uneasy and wondering what was coming next, and was wishing it were someone else in the limelight. Well, the apprentice that lost the most would love Two Feathers the more, replied Hare. Ho, replied Turtle. Hare, see Sequoia. Hare was burning so hot, and now was really wishing that it was someone else being asked. Then all of a sudden Hare looked at Sequoia. Cool, sweet Sequoia. Hare remembered how much Sequoia had been serving everyone. Hare beheld how much Sequoia had expended self to support and sustain all as a servant. Sequoia welcomed me with valuable herbs that support longevity. Sequoia bathed my feet and applied essential oils to my skin. Sequoia drums for us and serves us. When you came today, you came with things. Sequoia exchanges herself while you have exchanged things. Hare's shoulders dropped. How could anyone remember my excellence now with this oversight? Hare had come to Turtle because the family thought it was a noble thing to do, and now the whole feeling was one of intimidation. That was a nice experience. Now go on and amuse us with the medicine way. This was less than nice, though medicine people, thought Hare, are less than considerate or accustomed to the affluent. The circle remained silent. Hare looked around and noticed everyone staring at Turtle. Sequoia moved over and knelt in front of Turtle's feet. Sequoia was feeling that all this service had now been brought to everyone's attention. How would this be complete now? Would Turtle rebuke how much I serve? Turtle unblinkingly held Hare's gaze. Turtle was yet still to be complete with Hare. Hare, Sequoia is like the apprentice who serves a lot and has lost everything. To whom much of self is given, much love grows. Be about service and help in this way first. Be about shaping consciousness. Be about something in your life that is for all time. The remainder of Hare's conscious experience seemed to go into the twilight zone. The last thing Hare remembered was Loud Hawk's voice inside say, any person living who is open to be with the forces of a critical mind and deal with critique before it's uttered perfectly is really living in excellence. Wow. Grasshopper looked at Hare and saw how exciting it was to see a reflection of self. Grasshopper loved to come to the critical events involved in shaping consciousness. A lodge or special ceremony coming up with Turtle counted as one of these. Grasshopper loved using Turtle's way of languaging things. If only I can imitate this, thought Grasshopper. Sometimes Turtle would just use a single word or sentence or question and thoroughly pack a power pack of persuasion. In a split second, Grasshopper flashed on a plethora of having to deal with a less than excellent learning situation by putting the burden back on the other's shoulders, then to walk away with less than excellence. The record of Turtle's living ways of thinking expand consciousness beyond anything Grasshopper knew of. The I Will Speak Council came to completion and Hare found Sequoia and mate Red Cloud. A steady drumbeat and welcoming chant wafted through the late afternoon air to set the fire for the sweat lodge. Hare looked at Red Cloud, Sequoia's mate. Red Cloud's nose looked like a red bluff in the canyon lands. Pleased to meet you, Hare, remarked Red Cloud, on this most distinguished occasion. Are you staying for the sweat? Oh yes, I plan to ask Turtle to show me how to run a lodge. Sequoia and I have done a few lodges with a Tasmanian shaman called Happy Face, Red Cloud continued. Happy Face is quite a bit responsible for all of us here, learning the power of language and the principles of the uses of the body to access states of consciousness as well as nutrition and longevity. Happy Face is amazing when it comes to life food nutrition, said Sequoia. Red Cloud came over to Sequoia and put an arm around Sequoia while brushing a fold of hair back. I had a feeling like music rolled off Red Cloud's lips. One day Turtle sent Grasshopper to meet Happy Face, said Sequoia, and report back what distinguished Happy Face and Turtle from each other. Grasshopper was amazed at what was seen. Sequoia inched toward Hare. You see, Hare, Turtle had heard that Happy Face kept the most amazing hours and celebrated with everyone into the wee hours of the morning. And then there was these rumors about Happy Face's presence at parties and also unconventional healing and teaching practices. Happy Face had forethought Turtle's inquiry through Grasshopper and refused to argue or defend. Grasshopper, go and tell Turtle what you have seen and heard. It is true that I fast some, that I enjoy life, and that I preach how one can allow one's seed to abide within one and in this way become born of Wakantanka. Turtle has spent time since this with Happy Face. Sequoia's voice was a sweet feeling from the earth. Sequoia continued, Turtle and Happy Face's teacher, Cloud, apprenticed together with Two Feathers a long time ago. There's hardly any light between Turtle and Happy Face, though, said Red Cloud. Sequoia and Red Cloud often began and finished each other's sentences. As a couple, they were a real complementary unit. Red Cloud was very musical and was known to pick anything up and get music to flow out of it. Whoop! Turtle wound up everything with that sound. Let's set the fire for the sweat. Turtle's voice commanded the panorama of the enclosed field. The wind lightly ushered in a soft sea of energy that seemed to purify my skin. Everyone gathered around the open fire pit. A pile of river-rounded igneous rocks was piled up to the side of the fire pit. Red Cloud was circling the perimeter with flute music, and Grasshopper was keeping a steady sonic beat going. Turtle stepped into the fire ring with hands above the head and stood over the fire pit and swung a medicine item round and round in an anti-clockwise direction. Time started to slow down. Hare noted that the shadows of the day had become longer. Light scintillated and sparkled around Turtle's aura. Turtle had some bright-colored tongue bags that hung from shoulder straps. To the beat of the drum, Turtle seemed to slow everything down, then finally coming to a standstill. I saw that the medicine item was made of long horsehair that had made a sing sound as it was swung through the air. Turtle placed the medicine item at the east perimeter of the stones making up the fire circle, and opened one of the brightly colored shoulder bags that hung from the waist. Turtle sprinkled something on the rack of wood that lay in a cross-like shape in the center of the fire circle. Pausing slightly, Turtle relayed to us a story about Two Feathers. One day Two Feathers' mate deserted the medicine way. Heartbroken, Two Feathers was determined to let the relationship let the relationship go, quipped Turtle. Turtle squatted down and paused, then drew something in the earth with a stick. Yet Two Feathers' love would less than allow this. Two Feathers forgave and accepted the mate back. Wakantanka is ever capable of forgiveness toward our erring ways. My teacher, Two Feathers, stood before all people. Turtle spoke with a feeling of passion. Two Feathers proclaimed with burning zeal that Wakantanka is strong, that all things can instantly be dissolved, yet careful so as to support order in life. Wakantanka is one. Wakantanka is just. Wakantanka is good. These three tenements are the developments that all whole brain teachings are built on, quipped Turtle. Turtle continued. Hundreds of peoples have come and gone, and thoughts of other things have changed, yet the conception of Wakantanka having these three virtues has dominated the medicine way of Turtle Island to this moment. What then has Happy Face added? Probably this one thought that is more magnificent than all contributions to the way we think than many having come before us. So much so that this one single realization moves all of us into the age of Aquarius, the age of enlightenment. This one understanding invites those of us on the edge to hold ourselves high in the light that surrounds us, to look through Wakantanka's eyes, to become the eyes of the world. The realization that having a feeling of interest keeps our whole brain lit. Happy Face asks us to be open and welcoming, to focus on the consequences of our morality and contribute to consciousness. As Wakantanka is the parent of all beings, we are all Wakantanka's children. It is the way of the shaman to be equal to a pebble or an ant or oneself. In this way, one is equal to everything. You who live this way, says Happy Face, own the earth. The most rigid and upright want to make us less than whole. They want you to believe that they are privy to know, and all others must move rather than stand in their way. Happy Face's teaching asks us to throw all this aside. The rigid and most upright have enforced their dictums with "thou shalt nots." That language, Happy Face says, would have ratcheted people's brains in a direction other than forward. So frame things positively, focus on what you want and what the resources are. Focus on having a desirable feeling first, then hearing, then seeing. Ho! Turtle sprinkled some of the contents of the other brightly colored bag being worn. The beads strung on the tonguing made a clicking sound. Tobacco brings sweetness to the people. We put sage and cedar on the rocks for the spiritual fire to help cleanse, clear, and bring sweetness to the people. This rack of wood that the stones will be placed on represent the four directions of the medicine wheel. Turtle called for the first of the 7 rocks, and then asked us to have a rock select us by placing an intentional prayer out into the universe and having the rock call on you. Turtle told us what each of the rocks represent and some attributes to live our lives by. This first rock represents Grandfather Sun and Father Sky. One of the older members of the group selected a rock from the nearby pile and held the rock high into the air, placing some intent into the rock and then placing it on the rack laying in the center of the fire circle. Turtle sprinkled tobacco, sage, and corn. Corn brings abundance to the people, quipped Turtle. 6 more rocks were called for. One representing Grandmother Moon, and the other 5 in order were one for Mother Earth, the east, south, west, and north. Turtle went through the same ritual with these rocks. Then Turtle turned to all of us gathered at the fire circle and said, "These rocks give themselves up for us tonight. They participate in consciousness with us and we become purified." All the while, the drum and flute could be heard chastening us to empty ourselves. Turtle asked for more rocks for a total of 57. I placed a rock in thanks for the opportunity of learning the medicine way and one for learning the path of formlessness. I placed a rock on for people who need to heal and also for finding a partner. Dry kindling was placed in around the rocks and wood was positioned in a way that the rocks were completely clad. Once this was done, Turtle asked one of the elders to step forward and light the fire. As the fire was being lit, Turtle picked up a stick of sage and lit it off the fire. The sweet smell of sage wafted through the late afternoon air. The light was fading as the fire crackled and roared to a blaze. Turtle smudged a rattle and the smudging wing, then took the rattle and in time to the drum beat led us in an ancient chant. The meaning of this chant in an ancient language was, "Welcome, welcome, welcome to the birth of a holy new age." Turtle took the smudging wing and stick of sage and went round the circle and smudged everyone. "The hawk sees from afar, right up close," I remember Turtle saying. It was fascinating watching Turtle. Later on, I would learn about thought projection and other things that were occurring during the smudging. For the moment, though, I was mesmerized. Turtle seemed to accumulate energy with the wing like it was in flight. And then, with the wing, Turtle would pump the energy from the person upward, working all the way up to the top. I remember when this was happening to me, how it seemed like repositories of energy were being filled in my body like radiant light was flooding between my arteries and nerves. Turtle occasionally made some sucking and blowing sounds. I was feeling very etheric and tears of joy started to fill my eyes. Turtle leaned over and whispered in my left ear, "Medicine person." Turtle wound the chant we had been singing up with that sound. Whoop! The sound of silence filled the space that was created. Turtle asked us to remain in a state of introspection. We could talk if we wanted to about learning, yet quietly. "If you have anything you'd love to leave on the altar," Hare looked around at the mound of earth between the fire circle and the unclad lodge. Turtle continued, "Place something on the altar, so in the time that's to come, it will serve as a reminder of something significant to you this day." The sweat lodge provides us with a way to go inside and pray out of this space. Maybe someone is presently making a major decision in their life. Maybe to go on a journey, form a partnership, have children, start a new business venture, maybe learn the medicine way. Turtle caught my eyes as this was the last thing was said. Turtle went on like this, pacing things that were said to specific individuals gathered. I felt a feeling of delight that someone hardly cared much for what was conscious, yet with mastery was communicating on this other level. Grasshopper and Sequoia will keep a drumbeat going for us. Quipped Turtle. While the rest of us can cover the lodge. Blankets and tarps were placed over the sweat lodge frame, covering it totally. Hare saw that there was a pit about a foot deep and about 3 feet wide in the center of the sweat lodge, with sage leaf laid down to make up the floor around the pit. The lodge was totally covered except for a stick of wood propping open the entrance. 2 pails of water with a gourd floating in one of the pails had been readied by receiving the energy of the group that was gathered in anticipation of the lodge. Throughout the lodge being covered, Turtle orchestrated while chanting a sound song into the now fading light. Turtle had all the attributes of a leader. Physically strong and good looking, Turtle was an outdoors person. Turtle had great courage and assuredness. The kind of courage and assuredness that people respond to. Turtle looked like a person that could personally handle many things, yet could also organize. The hair on the back of Hare's neck prickled. Hare's life had changed forever. Something was now aligned. Maybe it was belonging to a group whose work was destined to be great. Or was it that I have found and am now connected to one of the most powerful influences on action and thought in our own time? There was a deep felt impulse to make my own life count in the grand process, creating a world where people may live life more abundantly, thought Hare. In the shaping of consciousness, one could hardly have a better teacher than Turtle. Yes, felt Hare, Turtle is my teacher.